Welcome to the InStory show. I'm Devorah Spilman, your host, and our theme is expanding into a new story. What does it mean to come out of hiding and dare to be seen for who you really are by saying yes to your soul and telling your story? So today I'm thrilled to welcome Stormie Grace. Hi, Stormie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Is a pleasure. So I'm going to read a little bit about you and then we'll dive in. Stormie
Okay.
Grace is a professional astrologer and YouTube host who has been teaching astrology online since 2014. She is the founder of a free YouTube Astrology Academy and the creator of AstroFluency Framework, a method that helps students learn to read, write, and speak the language of astrology. Stormie is also the creator of the Venus Reset program, helping women reconnect with their feminine power and self-worth. She has written a book, and one of them I know is coming out I think it's another one coming out in 2026. And I think there's a few more on your website when I was peeking around. All right, so I am thrilled that you're here, and I'm going to ask you what I probably will ask everybody, which is what does expanding into a new story mean to you?
Oh, it's such a beautiful question, and it's such a good time to be asked that because the world is changing so much. So expansion is what is happening right now, whether you would like to come along or not, right? But to me, when I think about what that means, is that it's so much hinged on the word story. And we get these stories or these ideas set up in our heads, and they become so familiar that it's just like we just live them. We stop questioning if that's real, that's not real, but we're really identified with them until something comes along and kicks it to move in a different direction. So whether it be because the world is changing or just we're changing in the seasons of life, that expansion to me really looks like one of the most spiritual things we do. And we step outside of the shell of the story that we've been living in, and that identity. And the expansion sometimes is quite gentle, and sometimes it's not, but it is always the daring to be seen in a different way that becomes important, and moving out of an old story, an old identity. That's what it means to me.
I love that. And I think it's true. And I think we do it in lots of different ways. And I was saying to you, I don't know that much about astrology. And I love the fact that this is what's opened up worlds for you, that gives you like your sense of expansion. And so I would love, because I love people's stories, I would love to hear just like, did you always know about astrology? Like, did your family like it? Like, what sparked your interest and has led you to turning this into your life work?
Absolutely. Actually, astrology was not something I thought about being with or without forever. When I was younger, I had always been seeing spirit moving just in a more intuitive way than my brothers were. And, I came from a traditional Catholic family, so they had that going on. And I would say things like, "Who's that lady next to Jesus?" And I would ask these deeper esoteric questions. So they kind of knew something was happening. And really, my mom. It was my mom. I was about 7, which is a significant time in astrology. And it's where we make our first break away from our parents. And, we think about 7-year-olds, they go, "I do it. I'll do it myself. I got it." They go to first grade. They have all of these experiences that are theirs. And that's what was happening for me. And my mother took me to a metaphysical fair, and I loved it. But we went to an astrologer's table, and instead of being called to astrology, I was recalled to it. And I watched her hand draw and work a chart, and I felt like I had done it 100 times. And so for me, it was just a recalling. And it was such a recall that I didn't feel like I needed to run towards astrology and just have this in my life. It wasn't that. It was oh, this is who I am. I've done this 100 times, and when it's time, it'll be called back up. Fast forward to turning 30, which is the next very significant time for us in astrology. It's the first time you're actually considered to be in your spiritual adult form. And astrology was called back up. I literally woke up, went to this place that I worked that I had loved forever. I used to work in radio. And I walked through the threshold and I went, oh my God, you have to be kidding me. I am not about to quit this job and become an astrologer and a YouTuber. What are you talking about? And that is what happened. And over the next year, the astrology came right up and out. And it launched me. It was my first turning point here, my first conscious expansion into learning to YouTube and how to put it out and learning how to take a practice that wasn't really that online at that time into that space, which meant that I also took my family and my two small children and my bills and all of the things with me into it. And that is how it has gone. And then I continued to study and continue to improve myself. Um, and that is how I've launched this entire career with that. It's kind of wild.
What,
Yeah.
so what were you doing before, like just before you were 30? Like when you were 29, like what were you doing and like, how, just say a little bit more about how you said yes to this thing that was crazy, but it was clearly you had to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was going a traditional educational route, got my bachelor's, my master's, was heading into working on my doctoral degree.
In
I had
what? But in what topic?
Oh yeah, well, I was a dance major in school, which this filters into everything we're going to talk about. And then I did my master's actually in business because I found out I had a really strong head for business. And I was doing my doctorate degree in organizational business because I wanted to bring astrology into business places the closest way I could at the time. And that's
Interesting.
what was going on. And I worked at a radio station. I was a radio station girl. I was doing the DJing. I was out on the streets. I mean, I was doing this whole thing. And astrology was a part of my life, but it wasn't, there was no, but the moment came and I knew it would be recalled back up in me. I knew and I accepted that. I just wasn't exactly sure when. And when it came, it was very clear. That's what
But that moment, I really love people to talk more about that moment. What do you mean it was really clear?
Oh, there was no, I'm not going to do this. There was just, I had no idea how I was going to build this going forward, but my heart was like, this is it. We're going this direction. Don't worry about the how, which is why I always say that for me, my business, this particular one is a business built on faith because I had to just believe what rushed up through me and put one foot in front of the other. And it was foggy, but I knew it. I knew it wasn't going to fail because it was what I was built to do.
Mhm.
Know how impactful that was going to be. I just knew it was time for me to be an astrologer and not be a radio person anymore. Right? I didn't know it was time for me to be a YouTuber and not a radio person anymore because they came together for me. So that is what I mean. And I cried. I cried when I realized it. It was not like this overwhelming, yes, I found my path. I cried. I was afraid. I had two small children. I had my bills. I was going to school. At the time, being an entrepreneur online was not hot. Okay. I had no experience with it. I had always worked a traditional career. Going through college, I was told you do your college, you get a job, you'll be okay for the rest of your life. So I'm not coming to the traditional office. I'm going to start a YouTube channel and be an astrologer was not on the cards. And I cried a lot that first year I built this business. I cried a lot, but I cried and moved my feet because I knew it was right. I, I don't, when you know, and if you've ever had it, you know that you can't escape it because you try to not do it and it hurts more.
Right. Okay. I get that. I see, I've experienced it and I've seen it in others that when you know that you have a calling on your soul, it does not let go. And it's better to say yes before you have to get sick or slammed or hurt or some other thing that often ends up making people do their work.
Yeah, yeah. The
Um,
universe like leads those who follow and drags those who don't. And I got that very clearly. I was like, oh, I will be walking. I'll do it. It may be a weird walk, but I'll do it.
yeah, yeah, I think that is really true. So what do you think helped you stay the course when it was hard?
Honestly, for me, it's that I have a belief. I have a belief structure that I am here to do and to be what I'm here to do and to be, and that there is an absolute, it is impossible for me to mess that up.
Mhm.
I believe that deeply and I live that way. And I think that that is what did it. I would love to say it was the love of my children or the strength of my family, and those are all beautiful things and true, but it is not. It is something really deep in me that goes, no, I know exactly that I'm supposed to be here and doing this now, or that's not really for me. And
Right.
that is what did it, you know. And astrologically speaking, I'm a Taurus, and we will just stay through anything. So generally, maybe there's a little bit of all of it in there.
Hmm. Well, because I think for some people, it's their family that exactly keeps them from doing their soul calling, right? Because
Absolutely.
they feel like I have to put my family first, and sometimes I get women who did that, and I always say, so be proud of that, and now you're free to do a next thing,
Absolutely.
right? Because there are these stages, and you sort of described that of where different things become possible at different stages of your growth. Do you
Yeah,
know what I
absolutely.
mean?
And when I was getting started, because it was not something that was common from my family, I would go and share with my family what I was trying to do or trying to build. And they believed that I could do whatever I wanted to do, but I
Uh-huh.
mostly met their fear because they'd never met someone who worked online. We don't have a professional astrologer in our family that we could fall back to. So I met their fear, and I got the best piece of advice that somebody told me to stop taking hostages. They were like, stop taking your family hostage. You are putting them in a position to fail you, and you're telling them something and just eating their fear. Go find somebody who's already doing something similar to what you want to do. And when I did that, then I entered this conversation with people who were astrologers, who were YouTubers, and oh my gosh, the world opened up. And I didn't have to keep going back to these people who were just afraid. How are they going to help me? They've never done that. And then I blame them. You know, I was almost setting our relationship up for resentment.
Right.
For what? So I learned that. So if you're doing that, no more
Right.
hostage.
Right. But that's such an important point because this need for approval, we need support, but
Right.
that approval from the wrong area is really detrimental because
Yeah.
that's a trap, right? And it creates a lot of fear. I talk about like that if something moves you, it will move your tribe, but people carry the wrong audience around in their head. Right?
That's
They have the wrong audience in their head, so they don't think that whatever I bring out in the world is going to be beautiful. It's like, no, it won't, because it wasn't before to the
absolutely.
wrong people. So that is brilliant that you got that advice to connect with other people who are going to see your vision and go, that's awesome. Here's some ideas. Because then you feel, oh, okay. Like, okay, I'm not holding this up entirely by myself.
Absolutely. And it was really empowering and embodying and helped me with my visibility down the road because I realized that I made the choice to have better relationships with the people in my home based on freeing them from the need to understand something they didn't understand, right? It's very embodying and very empowering to me because it would have been easy for me to say, well, because of my family. And that's not fair to them. And that wasn't fair to me. And then when it came time to be seen, oh man, I was ready for it. I was like, are you joking? I want to thank me. I stayed up and learned to do this and was afraid and followed the universe forward, you know?
So, all right. So now you got going, and now I know once you get into a world, then the next layers open up and the next layers open up. So tell us a little bit about where this has been leading you and what else has been opening up.
Absolutely. Well, right away, immediately in my industry, coming in on YouTube, there weren't that many of us at the time that were doing YouTube. So, really bringing astrology into the digital space. And I've been pretty ruthless about it, but in the most loving way. I am going to make content. I'm going to show you you can teach and that we can learn in these YouTube and digital spaces. So, in an industry way, I didn't mean to. I was actually just being myself and following my calling, and it opened up all of this space, and that turned into teaching other astrologers how to bring their courses, their classes, their message into digital space. This was an amazing, like, 5 years of my life getting to really focus into that, which of course honed me as a professional as well. Beyond that, I got to grow up in public. That's what I always say. I have grown up in public with this business, and some seasons were just me being in my, early 30s and living my best life. I have lost weight. I have gained weight. I have had the next pivot point in my career where I knew I was coming into a season that was time to slow down and shift, and I could feel the universe put it on my heart. And I said, I need to change my entire life so that I can navigate this business and that season. And this is where Venus came back to the table for me. And it became the season of my life of not only perimenopause, and these things came in as well, but the clarity around receiving
Mhm.
got incredibly loud for me. And that was at 40, my next real pivot point. And it has been incredible. And through me, an entire program was born. That's where Venus Reset came from.
So tell us a little bit about this Venus reset. And what do you mean by Venus? Like, what does that mean in terms of what you're talking about? Like, I know it's a planet, but that's about it.
In astrology, for us, Venus represents how we receive love, what we value, how we interact and engage with pleasure. What are our conceptions around money and attention and visibility, and how we experience the space of our own worth. It's a Venusian energy. It's all about attraction and receiving. It is not a hustle, go out and get it planet at all. It is, this is valuable to me, and so I'm calling it to me. And
Mm.
that is, it can be so easy that we miss it,
Say that
because
again. It can be so what? Say that again.
it's so easy that we miss it,
Oh,
right? Because it calls the principle of receptivity. Most of us were taught how to go out and get, how to do it, how to make it happen. But to say, I value this, now come to me, and align ourselves in such a way that we allow what we value to, even for us to
mm,
be seen to it so it can come to us.
mm,
This is a sense of a deeply feminine principle. And
mhm.
that is Venus. This is what happened in the
Yeah,
Venus Reset program. It was literally a callback to how was I in alignment with my Venus or not? And I needed to reset those principles in my being. I was on the doing end. I was
right.
not on the receiving end, and I needed to be. I needed to let things come to me and be receptive, be in the embodiment. So in Venus Reset, that's what happened. I created a program, and I went to the places where most women hold our story, and that is right into that pelvic bowl. And we take Venus right into that pelvic bowl and untell the stories that are in there and make it a wonderfully receptive, warm, luscious, delicious place to embody and be embodied in again, and get clear on our values. What do I value? So that when I point my hips at it and I tell it to come to me, I know that it is because that is what I want and that's what I value, right? So 22 beautiful days of learning to receive. The practice of receiving is what we do in Venus Reset. It is a zero heavy lifting program. And I tell you what, most of the time I have women get in it, and of the 22 days, they make it to about day 3 and they can't take it anymore. And this, I think, is something really important when we're talking about how do we expand? Well, we have to learn to receive. If receiving is so difficult,
Yeah.
Let's start with the ease of being right there.
Right.
And that is, it's been amazing work. That's what this season of me as an astrologer is about.
Interesting. No, I hear you. Like I'm already even older than you are, and I realize like when I teach sometimes, when we teach about asking, it was like we were all everyone was terrible at asking for anything, asking for guidance, asking for help, because and that connects to receiving, right? Because we're so busy giving and taking care of and making sure and all the
Mhm.
things. You're so right, and this. And the sense that in order to take our power, we had to copy how men did it
Mm.
instead of figuring out how do we do it. And so we're figuring it out in it because it's not that asking means you're weak and receiving means you're a wreck, right? Like they're all those are the old stories. Oh, I need help because I'm a wreck,
That's right.
right? As opposed to I need help because I'm growing and expanding and I don't have to hold it up all by myself.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you're saying it. And these are the conversations. And astrologically speaking, at this time in the world, we're having so much of the feminine energy, and women are not waking up like we were over here asleep or something, but we're in a state of reclamation. And there are a couple things really calling that in. One, we do have more generations of women, particularly in the United States, alive at the same time. So we're getting to have these conversations
Mm,
and heal forward and backwards. And I
mm,
cannot tell you how delicious this season has been as a 43-year-old woman to sit with the women I'm with who are in their 70s and say, you can just ask for it. You can just ask for it. And to watch something melt and watch a receiving happen and watch us remember and reclaim it. This is a delicious time in the world. It really is.
right, because we're able to live longer healthy. And then also one of the good sides of the internet is here we are. How do we even find each other? Like here we are talking to each other and all of you watching. Like we never used to be able to find each other. It's just such a wonderful thing. And so I think those two things, because like I'm in that age group, I'm 69. And so it's like, I'm 69. No. Anyway, so it does have that feeling because if you're living a life where you still have energy and spark and you can still get outside and move, and then I can
Mhm.
interview somebody like you who's doing this amazing work in the world, and all of you listening to this are here because you resonate in some way with this work, with this expansion, with what astrology can do, what stories do. And so we're finding each other. And I think that is also a really big thing, which I'm sure you must have felt with as doing YouTube. Like the way people found you is amazing, right?
Oh, it is. It is. And the more Venusian I allow myself to be, the more quickly they're finding me now, right? And it is the people that I'm supposed to be working with this time. But that's such a Venusian principle as well, is that I don't have to do this by myself, and I'm not going to. I was never going to. Venus is a social planet. It's like, oh, we have to be around all of the people and the places and the things that hold the same value so that we can experience life fully.
Right.
Fully. It's a social energy, and there's a lot of good that comes with that. But yeah, the more I allow myself to be open to the receiving, and the more I watch other women be able to do that, oh my gosh, the
Right.
life force that comes around from all over the globe is incredible.
Right, right, right. And it's so possible for us to create these positive environments. That's one of the reasons I love telesummits, these online interview series, is because we call in our tribe. Like
Mhm.
no one's going to sign up unless they resonate. Right. So the only people listening who are you want to be listening. So we're so glad you are listening. And then we can invite them into more work, which I would love you to tell us about because I know you have a super cool free gift. So I want you to describe what it is and how it will help people. And I know you also have like a little exercise people can do, which I know you were going to tell us. And so just tell us that, connect to your free gift, and so people can kind of take another step forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have my Unlocking Astrology, my 8-step guide for you, and it really makes astrology easy because what I focus on is making sure that you can speak the language of astrology from the first time you engage it. You should be able to pick this guide up and say, if you know nothing about astrology, oh, my son is giving me a signature of this, and start to have that conversation. So it expands beyond your Venus and gives you a glimpse into your entire chart and a way to start speaking that and engaging it. And that is absolutely priceless because this is a brilliant language. And so I've made it really easy and functional for you. In the guide as well, I connect you to other resources in astrology that may have answers for you. You may be reading the guide and you find out that you're actually very good at helping people find out where they live. Well, there's a whole group of astrocartographers. You might be in that lineage. So it is a beautiful guide. It's light lifting, very easy and enjoyable. So I hope that you get a lot of value out of it. It's one of my favorite tools that we have.
Super cool. That's awesome. And so you had a little Venus exercise you said that people could do. So tell us if you just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So really what I would invite you to do is to first of all see if you need a reset with your Venus. And one of the ways we do that to see if you're plugged in is I would invite you to just spend the next 24 to 48 hours actually observing yourself and how you do with receiving and how you do with allowing things to come to you without forcing them to come to you. Right? And to feel it. And how do you feel as this process is happening? That will tell you about how connected or disconnected you honestly are from your Venus and whether or not it needs a reset to kind of come back to powerful, magnetic, delicious, valuable reconnection and being able to use your Venus to pull something right towards you and be seen while you are doing it because Venus is about visibility. We are moving, beautiful, living, breathing art, and we have to be seen. So how do you do? Spend the next 48 hours with this conception and see how you come out.
Okay, that's a wonderful instruction because we are often very oblivious of receiving or feel undeserving of receiving. There's all kinds of stories that can come up. So that's a brilliant exercise. So everybody just take this and put it in the front of your consciousness and notice, just noticing, not judging, but noticing how good are you at receiving? What happens when you open to receiving? And then does that feel like, then it's like, oh no, I'm being demanding. Right, like there's all these, right? Like, so notice that, and then and get Stormie's free gift, and so that you'll get a better understanding of astrology and what, because I think it'll help people who don't know what you mean about your Venus, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Venus, like, what does that mean? Like, are all the planets like that? You have yours of it?
Absolutely. We all
Yeah.
have all 12 signs and we have all of the planets, but yours might sit someplace different than mine.
Okay.
You don't even know how that Venus works and receives because we
Okay.
don't all receive the same way either. So this
Right.
guide will definitely help you get in a bit of alignment with that and make it
Right.
clearer.
Right. Really good. All right. We're going to wrap up. Leave us with the last thought.
My last thought is that you do not need to earn your joy or your Venus or your receiving. You do not need to earn it. You deserve it without ever having to do anything. But if you connect with it, then you'll believe what I'm saying.
I with you on that one. Thank you so much, Stormy. And as I always say in farewell, everybody remember to go out in the world and share your story and live your purpose and be a blessing. Bye, folks.